Peace, everyone. Welcome to another segment of Masterminds Monday. I'm one of your hosts, Phylecia Tarael-ANU. We're also here with our other host, Brother Damon Rawls.
Greetings, everyone.
Peace.
Peace.
So again, if you've been joining us for the past few weeks, you are listening to Masterminds Monday, which is one of the shows that broadcasts on the Enlightenment and Transformation Network, which is one of 5 shows. We were previously on, and some shows are still on Blog Talk Radio, but we are slowly transitioning over to the Google Hangouts via the YouTube viewing. So you can watch and join our webinars right on YouTube or our Google Plus page. And this is a live show, so if you have any questions or comments, you can type them in. Just use your Q&A button and we'll get to your question or comment. But tonight, before we start off, I want to make some quick announcements. We just briefly, I'm sure, are wrapping up the Magic of Essential Oils webinar. So that has concluded today, but we have another one coming out on October 12th, I believe, and that is on alchemy. So definitely check that out. You can learn more by visiting us at anunation.org/events. Outside of that, you can also check out anunation.org, which is the parent hub for the world of ANU. So from spiritual consultations to the Alpha Omega store, which is your one-stop shop for all of your spiritual and self-development needs. You can check that out as well. And as well as our classes, so dualhealth.com, spiritual services that are offered on Osiris Life. All of that information you can find directly on anunation.org. Brother Damon, did you have any announcements before we get into our topic?
Yeah, just wanted to say that we've got our business breakthrough program going on right now. And so anybody in the listening audience who's ready to take their life to the next level, life or business to the next level, by all means, get in contact with us. You can call me at 865-271-8021, or you can find me on Facebook at Damon Rawls Coaching and Consulting and get more information on the program. But having a lot of people with a lot of success, having some breakthroughs. We're working with animators, photographers, just regular individuals who are ready to take their life to the next level. And so a lot of fun right now. And if you're ready, get in contact with me and let's talk about it.
Beautiful. So for tonight, again, just to update you, the format is a little different. The shows are a little shorter. So again, to accommodate everybody and their attention span. So the show's about 20 minutes long. Similar to like the TED Talks. If you're familiar with TED Talks, they're about 20 minutes. So tonight we wanted to briefly discuss inner wisdom for business success. And we came along this topic because we were having, I would say, what do you call that? Topic block, like writer's block. But so I did a reading and we learned that we wanted to know what the people needed to hear. So that means that someone listening, whether you catch us live or in the archives, may need to hear this message. Or maybe it's one of us that needs to hear this message. And the card that came up for the reading that I did was the salmon. So again, just to let you know, reading is a divination. Just if you got a spiritual consultation, and I do the medicine cards under Anu Nation. I do the life path readings, the spiritual wealth readings. And sometimes I read for everything, when it comes to decision making, important decisions. And sometimes we need to know what people need to hear, let alone besides what we want to just talk about. And the card that came up was the salmon, and the salmon represents wisdom and inner knowing. So this was good. It came up. It wasn't in the contrary position, which means it wasn't upside down. So it was a good thing. So it showed that basically when it comes to what resonated with me so far is when it came to business or business decisions, partnerships, guidance. Sometimes if you're new to being an entrepreneur or a manager, whatever you want to classify yourself as, you're constantly researching and taking in people's advice and their guidance, their experiences, and all the information that they want to share with you to help you make a decision. But the salmon the guidance that comes with the salmon is to, ultimately listen to that inner voice that resides within. So it's not saying to totally disregard any of these mentors or teachers or just general people that you may get advice from. It's asking you to also, maybe, test that against your own inner knowing and inner wisdom. What this person's saying, does it really resonate with my personal truth and my personal vision for my life? Because some people may be extremely negative and may give you their, experience and their wisdom or their guidance from their experience, which may be totally negative and may not be something that you need in order to push yourself forward, especially if this is something you're doing for the first time. So when the salmon comes sometimes in a reading, it does tell you to, of course, trust your gut feeling. It's that gut feeling, that inner voice that says, I don't know if that's a good idea. Or if somebody wants to partner with you and it sounds really good, it's too good to be true, and you may have that feeling that says, I don't know about that. That's what the salmon is advising you to do. It literally advises you to avoid the influence of those who may have hidden agendas or who manipulate events for their personal gain. So it's basically telling you to reclaim your own inner knowing. Don't relinquish all of your personal power and your personal knowing. Don't just totally turn that over to somebody else. You have to keep some of that to yourself. You came here with a soul, a purpose, and that is important. So you definitely need a teacher, you definitely need a guidance and a mentor, but the salmon is advising you to kind of, be mindful of the wisdom that you do have within inside of you. If something seems ridiculously, doesn't make sense, then of course don't do it. And if something seems too good to be true, maybe you want to, maybe it is. So definitely take in the advice, but ultimately you make that decision and don't turn over and relinquish all of your power and inner knowing to someone else. So that was what resonated with me and what came over with the reading. How about you, Brother Damon?
Yeah, I definitely agree with everything you're saying about the inner wisdom of the reading. Just to give my 2 cents, in all of the successful like autobiographies I've ever read, one of the things that kind of always resonates with most people or successful people is that, do the research on whatever it is and then make a gut decision. So you make a gut decision from a point of not blindness, but you make a gut decision from a point of information. So take in information and then make your own decision. So you're not taking somebody's opinion on something or position, but you've done your research, and not a lot, not that you've got to have, what is it called, analysis paralysis, that you've got to research something for 2 years before you make a decision, but get to a point where you're comfortable, then do what the gut tells you, because that is the truth of what needs to be done. And if you don't, like, I knew a guy that invested in real estate one time, and he was talking about people who just get into real estate in the very beginning, and then they say, oh, well, I had a gut feeling about this deal. He said, how can they make a gut decision when they've never made a deal before? Like, or, and what he was trying to say was, how can they make a decision without any information? So the guidance from inside always comes from a point of information. So I would say definitely get the information you need and then make the decision.
Absolutely. And another thing too that came up, of course, with the salmon, of course, that it also swims upstream when it's trying to go back to the source, home, when it's just amazing how it knows how to go back to the place of its origins and in its birth when it wants to lay its eggs. And it basically just goes there by following and trusting in its natural instincts and upriver, upstream, and everything. So that's, similar to that. It's like going back to the source. It's going back to you. Tapping in, whether you do meditation, still or moving meditation. Having that quiet time to listen to that small voice within and that source. So that's one aspect of the salmon teaches as well. As well as, when you go upstream, it is hard. It's not an easy ride. So the salmon kind of teaches us that sometimes it's you have to like integrate even the hardships or the challenges that you may experience in life as lessons. So don't just, if something goes wrong, think, oh, I tried this business and my life is totally over. I'm never doing this again. A lot of entrepreneurs are successful because of their failures. They've learned from several mistakes and then they continue on and they continue on and they continue on. So they are successful. So that's kind of what the salmon kind of teaches. Don't, come to a place of complete misery or distress when things don't go wrong, because the salmon kind of teaches you that you become wise from integrating the positives and the negatives of your life experiences.
Yep. Yeah,
So
absolutely.
that's something to be mindful of as well.
Absolutely. Both the positive and the negative give you a full rounded picture of what reality is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, only in the West do we live a life that has no downs,
Hmm.
or no negative side.
Hmm.
Um, in Eastern philosophy, you see the yin and the yang symbol, but it's good and bad, yes and no,
Hmm.
good and
Hmm.
evil. So there's a continuous circle that they all move into, and it just
Hmm.
is. So definitely taking in a level of information helps you move into the right situation and taking both sides of it. Because typically you learn what the right move is once you've understood what the wrong move is.
Yep. Yep. That's when I feel like the knowledge becomes in wisdom. When you apply
Yeah.
it. You know.
Yeah.
So that's the key. And that was one of the main things that stuck out to me as well with the salmon. But that's the thing. It's like you have to learn how to discern. Because sometimes I know we do. Some of us have a really hard time making decisions. Yet you call 15,000 people before you make a decision, and that sometimes confuses you even more. You know. Um, but I am a fan of trying to get some sound advice, maybe from somebody, a trusted friend or a confidant, that you may trust their decision making or whatever. But ultimately, still, at the end of the day, you making that decision. You know, taking in all the advice that is given and offered, trying to find objective advice as much as you can, and then ultimately you making that decision. Because you'll find that sometimes, especially as a reader, when I do readings for people, sometimes they want you to tell them what's going to happen. Like, should I be with this one or that one, or should I make this decision or that decision? It's like, well, you have to make that decision. The cards just kind of give you insight to what the outcome may possibly be if you take one path against another path. But I'm not going to tell you which one to take. That's not my role. Like, you have to make the decision. Take the accountability for that decision in case it goes, wrong or right. You don't want to defer that to someone else or blame someone else if it doesn't go well. So it's ultimately about you embracing your own personal power and growing in strength through applying these things that you're learning. So that is what resonated with me, and that was the message of the salmon from the medicine cards, which is a native system of divination. So again, Brother Damon, do you have any more gems to offer before we close out?
No, that's all I had. I mean, I would say be prudent in your decision making. Get the information and then go with the gut.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely a combination of the two. Do the research and then go with the gut.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And again, just to make a quick announcement, close out. I believe all of the shows will certainly be over on our Google Plus page. And make sure you follow the page if you are listening right now so that you can get the announcements going forward when the shows are broadcast. As well as, again, make sure you check out ANUNation.org, because that is the parent hub for everything in the world of our new nation. So again, events coming up again next month. There's a webinar every month. The next one is on November. The month's confused now. November 12th, exactly 1 month from today. So go check it out. Make sure you RSVP and check out our other services as well. Again, we have Osiris Life, which is spiritual services. We offer classes at sedulahouse.com. And we also offer spiritual consultations. Myself and as well as Chief Gia conduct the spiritual consultations. So again, you can register for those and learn more at onthernation.org. And outside of that, you can check us out here every Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Masterminds Monday, where we discuss the relationship between spirituality and business. So until next time, we will see you next week. Peace.
Peace.